Hello, and welcome back to a conversation about the new book that's just come out called Max Evans and a Few Friends. For this segment, we're here with Ruthie Francis, who's one of the editors. So Ruthie, why don't you tell us how you got involved in this project and a little bit about your chapter in this book, Max Evans and a Few Friends.
I got a phone call.
You got a phone call from?
Barb Awalt,
Okay.
who helped put this book together. She is with the LPD Press and Rio Grande Books. And she said, we need another editor, and would you please do it? And I've been a fan of his for years, since Blue Feather Fellini and the Sacred Realm came out. I said, sure, right away. So got all of the chapters sent in, and we edited them, and here we are. It's a miracle.
Why do you say that?
From start to finish, cover, put it all together, the birthday party at Bookworks. It's just been fantastic, and all these people came together and put it together for Max.
Ah, wonderful. And how did you two come to know each other?
When Blue Feather Fellini came out in 94, must have been about 94.
I think 94. Can't remember.
And that was one of the books that you worked the longest on, right?
Yes, ma'am. About 5.5 years.
And his wife, Pat, typed the whole book.
Yeah, I had a silly vision, and it was really silly, but I followed it, as I followed lots of silly things in my silly life. I had a vision to write in longhand. I'd been typing on the old Underwood typewriter, and I'd never written a story in longhand. So it created a great problem for some typists, and my wife is a good typist and a good editor, and I think it took her just the editing alone, where she was typing it up, and the two of us were editing the book, took 90 days.
Wow.
We sat there every day until we were exhausted, and I didn't know whether either one of us was going to live through that book. So it became a very special book to me, and I'm glad and honored that Ruthie thinks about it as a caliber of book that it is.
It's literature.
Literature.
And Max has been misidentified as a Western writer. He's a writer, period. And it's a wonderful piece of literature. It has everything in it that Max has ever done or encountered in our lives. And also music and love.
So
music and war.
So his book, War and Music?
War and Music, yes,
You really
I'm sorry.
liked, okay.
Yes, that's another one that people should also read. It's much shorter. Blue Feather Fellini and Blue Feather Fellini in the Sacred Realm. You can get it in a paperback. It's 1,100 pages.
1,038 now, yeah.
1,038.
It's up there with Gone
And
with
his
the
other
Wind.
books are
Yeah.
much
Let's
shorter.
get that correct.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful literature, and it incorporates everything. It incorporates human life and animal life and the planet's life, because I also see Max as an environmentalist. He also talks about the seasons getting longer in the spring or warmer, and he just covers everything.
And I note that for this book, you're planning for all the proceeds to be donated to Max's favorite charity. So why don't you talk about that for a second?
It's Animal Humane of New Mexico.
Yeah, it's been my favorite charity as long as I can remember, as long as I could get 10 cents to be charitable with.
Okay, and you've also most recently published a book on animal stories. So you have a fan.
That's
you've
a
got
lifetime
fan.
collection of my animal stories. That's the title, Animal Stories, a Lifetime Collection.
And that's published by the University of Oklahoma Press. It's a beautiful book.
Okay, let's see if the audience
Okay.
has any questions for either Max or Ruthie. So Eric, and then we'll move to the lady in the front. So Eric first.
Yeah, this question is for Max. I've heard a lot of authors talk about when they initially start writing, they can't write, like they can't type on a computer. They have to write it out in their own hand because it just the story flows better that way. Have you found that to be true when you initially
Yes,
start
for
writing?
me, longhand just fits whatever the speed of my little old mind is. It really is true for me. Yeah, I think I've written better in both short and long lengths since I've been writing in longhand.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you stand up? Can you tell us your name, please?
Yes, my name is Stella Conklin, and I am a devout fan of yours. In particular, the book For a Love of a Horse. I've been a horse trainer for over 40 years before I decided to become a law student. And I just want to thank you for writing this book. You speak to the soul of a real cowboy or cowgirl, and the things that you brought into it just were amazing. I just want to ask you one question, and that's now that you have the virtue of being able to look back in a retrospective view, who was your favorite horse?
Oh, great question.
Well, it's a little horse called Cricket that my mother bought for me. I don't know how she did it. We didn't have any money that I knew of, but she bought me a little horse called Cricket when I was 4 years old. And that's when I started cowboying. I had to. I had a widowed aunt there in southeastern New Mexico who had 4 little girls. And what few cattle were left alive, she had part of them. And I had to start at 4 years old, somehow herding those cattle around and trying to find some grass for them.
Wow.
And I just had a love affair with that horse for years and years. Also had to hunt for food. There wasn't much food, there wasn't much to eat. And I hunted off of that little horse. And a horse to hunt off of has to be trained a special way. You turn sideways or you hurt their ears. They learn just like a hunting hound. And it was survival. It was survival for our life that the little horse provided. And so therefore, I have many wonderful horses that I just still, I think about every day, 1 or 2 of them, every single day of my life. I remember some incident or some experience, but that one is always there. In fact, I wish somebody around here would suggest publishing that as a book by itself. It's a novella. It'd be a short book, but it'd be a beautiful book for teenagers, and I've been thinking about presenting it to someone for that reason.
Okay, great.
Max calls Blue Feather Fellini his longest novella.
Okay. Okay, on that note, we're going to wrap this segment of Max Evans and a Few Friends with our conversation with Ruthie Francis and Max Evans. Thank you.